Most drivers, close to 91% of them, have never heard of a single trick in this video. Some of these will keep hundreds of dollars out of a shop's pocket every year. Others will quietly extend the life of parts most people replace years too early. And there are more than a few that people inside the automotive industry would rather you never stumbled onto. Here are 17 genius car hacks that sound made up, but genuinely work. Let's start with hack number 17, the spare tire nobody checks you. Get a flat on the shoulder of the highway, pop the trunk, pull out the spare, and discover it's soft, sometimes dangerously soft, because nobody has looked at it since the day the car was delivered. Most drivers check their 4 road tires and completely forget the 5th one sitting under the trunk floor. Here's the problem nobody tells you about. A spare tire loses roughly 1 to 2 psi a month through the rubber itself. The same slow permeation every tire experiences, except this one never gets refilled at a gas station because it never gets used. Open your trunk, lift the floor panel, and find the pressure rating printed on the tire's sidewall or on a sticker inside the trunk lid, usually higher than your road tires, often 60 psi on a compact spare. Check it with the same gauge you use on your other tires, once a season. If it's low, fill it at any gas station air pump in under 2 minutes. A roadside assistance call-out, because your spare was also flat, runs $75 to $150 on top of the tow. A 30-second check, 4 times a year, costs nothing and means the spare actually works the one day you need it. Hack number 16, the washer fluid that freezes. It's the first real cold snap of the year. You hit the washer fluid button to clear road salt off your windshield, and nothing comes out. No spray, no sound, just a faint clicking from under the hood. Most drivers assume the pump is broken and start pricing a replacement. Here's what actually happened. The washer fluid in your reservoir is still the summer blend, rated to maybe 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and it has frozen solid inside the lines, and running the pump against frozen fluid burns out the pump motor within seconds. Before winter arrives, drain what's left of the summer fluid as best you can and refill with a winter-rated washer fluid, rated down to -20 or -30 degrees, sold at every auto parts store right next to the summer version for about the same price. Check the freeze rating printed on the bottle before you buy, not just the color of the liquid. If your pump has already burned out from being run dry against ice, replacing it costs $150 to $300 in parts and labor. A jug of the correct fluid costs $6 and prevents the whole problem from ever happening. Hack number 15, the check engine light that isn't an engine problem. Your check engine light comes on out of nowhere. Nothing feels different. The car drives fine, but that little orange icon is now staring at you every time you start the car, and you're already picturing a $500 repair bill. Before you book anything, here's the single most common cause behind that specific light. A gas cap that isn't fully tightened lets the fuel system lose pressure, and the evaporative emissions sensor flags it as a fault almost identically to a real emissions leak, because as far as the sensor can tell, it is one. Open your fuel door and check the cap. Most caps need to be turned until you hear 3 to 5 distinct clicks, not just snugged down by hand. If you hear the clicks and the cap was previously loose, the light will often turn itself off within 10 to 50 miles of driving as the system rechecks itself. If it doesn't clear on its own, most auto parts stores will read the code for free. A shop diagnostic fee to tell you it was the gas cap runs $80 to $120. Tightening it yourself costs nothing and takes 5 seconds. Hack number 14, the wheel cleaner eating your rims. You spray on a bright pink or purple wheel cleaner because it looks powerful, wipe it off, and over a few months, your once shiny rims develop a dull, pitted, almost sandblasted texture that no amount of polishing fixes. Here's what those bright-colored cleaners actually are. Most of them are acid-based, either hydrofluoric or a close relative, formulated to cut through brake dust fast, and that same acid slowly etches through the clear coat, protecting your wheels every single time you use it. Here's what actually protects the finish while still cleaning it properly. A simple mixture of pH-neutral dish soap and warm water applied with a soft wheel brush, breaks down brake dust and road grime just as effectively without touching the clear coat chemically. Spray or splash the soapy water onto the wheel while it's cool, never in direct sun. Scrub gently with a soft bristle brush into the spokes and lug areas, then rinse thoroughly before it dries. Refinishing a set of acid-damaged wheels at a shop costs $400 to $800 for 4 rims. A bottle of dish soap costs a few dollars and lasts an entire season of washes. Hack number 13, the neutral coasting myth. You're coming down a long hill and you shift into neutral, letting the car coast, convinced you're saving fuel by taking the engine out of the equation. Nearly every driver over 40 was taught this exact trick, and on a fuel-injected car built after the late 1980s, it's actually backwards. Here's the mechanism nobody explains. When you lift off the gas pedal while still in gear, moving and rolling downhill, the engine's computer cuts fuel injection completely, delivering 0 fuel to the engine, while your momentum keeps it spinning. The instant you shift to neutral, the engine drops to idle, and the injectors start firing fuel again, just to keep it running. Staying in gear and off the gas burns nothing. Coasting in neutral burns idle fuel the entire way down. Next time you're descending a long grade, leave the transmission in gear, lift your foot fully off the accelerator, and let the engine's fuel cutoff do the work. Across a year of regular hill driving, this habit alone can add up to $40 to $80 in fuel that used to disappear for nothing, and it keeps you in full control of the car instead of coasting with reduced braking response. Hack number 12, the windows that still work after the car is off. You pull into the driveway, shut off the engine, and only then remember you left a window cracked. Most drivers assume they have to restart the entire car just to roll it up. Here's the feature almost nobody uses. Most vehicles built in the last 15 years keep power to the windows, sunroof, and radio active for a set window of time, typically 30 seconds to a few minutes, after you turn off the ignition, as long as you haven't opened a door yet. Without restarting the engine, simply press and hold the window switch. On most systems, it responds instantly, no key turn required. Some vehicles extend this window further if you press a door-mounted button rather than opening the door itself first. This is documented in your owner's manual under retained accessory power, a term almost no driver has ever searched for. Knowing this saves you from restarting a cold engine unnecessarily, which needlessly runs the fuel pump and adds engine wear for a task that takes 2 seconds without it. Before we get into the second half of this list, if you're finding this useful, go ahead and hit that like button now. It genuinely helps this video reach more people who are quietly overpaying for things they didn't need to. Let's keep going. Hack number 11, the key fob battery dealer's upcharge. For your key fob starts requiring you to be closer and closer to the car before it unlocks, or the buttons stop responding the first time you press them. Most drivers assume the whole fob is failing and take it to a dealer, who quotes a new fob and programming fee. 9 times out of 10, it's just the battery. Most key fobs use a simple, widely available coin cell, most commonly a CR2032, the exact same battery used in kitchen scales and calculators. Find the small seam around the edge of your fob, usually near a metal keyblade that pops out. Insert a thin flathead screwdriver or a coin into that seam and twist gently to pop the case open. The battery sits in a small tray, usually held by 2 tiny clips, and lifts straight out. Note the plus side orientation before removing it, then insert the new one the same way and snap the case shut. A dealer will often charge $15 to $25 to swap this battery during a service visit, sometimes more if they push a full replacement fob. The battery itself costs about $1.50 at any pharmacy, and the entire swap takes under 2 minutes. Hack number 10, the WD-40 trick for dead wiper blades. You turn on your wipers during a sudden downpour, and instead of clearing the glass, they judder, skip, and leave streaks smeared across your line of sight. Most drivers assume the rubber has simply worn out and drive straight to an auto parts store for a $30 with a $50 replacement pair. Before you spend that money, here's what's actually happening to the blade. The rubber edge doing the wiping doesn't wear down so much, as it oxidizes, building up a thin, hardened, slightly glazed layer from months of sun and ozone exposure. And that stiff outer layer is what causes the skipping, not a lack of rubber. WD-40, the same can sitting in most garages, dissolves that oxidized layer and softens the rubber back toward its original flexibility. Lift each wiper arm away from the glass. Spray a light coat of WD-40 onto a clean rag, never directly onto the blade or the windshield, and run the rag firmly along the entire length of the rubber edge several times, applying steady pressure. Wipe off any excess with a dry section of the rag so no residue is left behind. Lower the arm and run the wipers across a wet windshield to test. The judder is gone and the blade lays flat and clean across the glass again. Repeat this once a month, and a set of blades that would normally need replacing every 6 months can last closer to a year. A new pair of wiper blades costs $30 to $50. A can of WD-40 you likely already own treats every blade on the car for pennies, with plenty left over for the rest of this list. Hack number 9. The rust that starts where you can't see it. Your car looks clean on the outside, but a few winters of road salt later, small rust bubbles start appearing along the rocker panels and wheel arches, and by the time you can see them, the damage underneath has already been spreading for months. Most drivers only think about rust once it's visible on painted surfaces. Here's the trick body shops use to prevent it from ever reaching that point. An annual light coating of a lanolin-based rust inhibitor spray applied to the rocker panels, wheel wells, and exposed frame rails before winter penetrates existing surface rust and displaces the moisture that lets new rust form, without the mess or smell of traditional oil-based undercoating. Using the spray's extension wand, apply a light, even coat to the lower body panels, inside the wheel wells, and along any exposed metal seams underneath the car, ideally on a dry day before the first salted roads of the season. Let it cure for a few hours before driving. Professional annual rust proofing at a shop costs $100 to $180 per treatment. A can of lanolin-based rust spray costs $15 to $20 and covers the whole underbody yourself. Hack number 8, the temperature gauge that's lying to you, on purpose. You glance at your temperature gauge and the needle has crept up slightly from where it normally sits, and you start panicking about a blown head gasket. Here's something almost no driver knows about modern temperature gauges. On the vast majority of cars built in the last 15 years, the temperature gauge isn't actually showing you the real engine temperature at all. It's programmed to sit in the middle of the gauge for the entire normal operating range, sometimes anywhere from 180 to 220 degrees, specifically so tiny fluctuations don't send drivers into a panic every time the thermostat cycles. The needle only moves noticeably once the engine is genuinely approaching a dangerous temperature. This means small movements around the middle are completely normal and not worth pulling over for. What actually matters is the needle climbing steadily toward the H mark or a dedicated warning light illuminating, either of which means pull over immediately and shut the engine off. Understanding this distinction alone prevents unnecessary roadside panic stops and, just as importantly, stops you from ignoring the one signal that actually does mean something is wrong. Hack number 7, the battery drain nobody can find. Your car battery is dead again, for the 3rd time this month, even though you drive it almost every day, and a shop wants $150 just to diagnose what's silently draining it overnight. Here's a simple test you can run in your own driveway first. With the car off and all doors closed, open the driver's door just enough to see the interior dome light turn on. Then watch it from outside through the window for several minutes. If it stays on far longer than it should, or a trunk or glove box light stays lit when it shouldn't, you've likely found your drain immediately, often just a door or trunk switch that's stuck or misaligned. For a slightly deeper check, a basic multimeter, sold for $15 to $20 at any auto parts store, connected in series with the disconnected negative battery cable, shows you the exact current draw with everything off, letting you pull fuses one at a time until the draw disappears and points you straight to the culprit circuit. A shop electrical diagnostic for a parasitic drain runs $120 to $200. A cheap multimeter and 20 minutes in your driveway often finds the same answer for free. Hack number 6. The cabin filter hiding behind your glove box. Your air conditioning airflow feels weaker than it used to, and a musty smell drifts out every time you turn the fan on high. Most drivers assume this means an expensive AC system problem and start pricing a recharge. On the vast majority of cars, the actual cause is a clogged cabin air filter, and it sits somewhere almost every driver has personally opened 100 times without knowing it was there, directly behind the glove box. Empty the glove box, then squeeze the sides of the box inward so it drops down or swings free on its hinge, exposing a small filter housing behind it. Slide out the old filter, note which direction the airflow arrows point on its frame, and slide the new one in, facing the same way. The entire process takes about 5 minutes and requires no tools on most vehicles. A dealer service visit to replace this same filter runs $40 to $70, almost entirely labor for a 5-minute task. The filter itself costs $12 to $20 at any auto parts store. Hack number 5. The empty tank habit that wears out your fuel pump. You like to run the tank down close to empty before filling up, squeezing every last mile out of a tank to save an extra stop at the pump. Here's what that habit is quietly doing to an expensive part you never think about. Your fuel pump sits inside the tank and uses the surrounding gasoline itself as a coolant and lubricant for its motor. Running the tank consistently low means the pump spends more time exposed to air, running hotter, and pulling in sediment and debris that naturally settles at the bottom of the tank over the car's lifetime, all of which shortens the pump's usable life. Try to keep the tank above a quarter full as a general habit, especially on an older car that's accumulated more tank sediment over the years. It costs you slightly more frequent stops at the pump, but nothing beyond that. A fuel pump replacement, because the tank has to be dropped to access it on most vehicles, costs $400 to $900 at a shop. Keeping a quarter tank as your new empty costs you nothing extra over the life of the car. Hack number 4. The jump start that sparks near the battery. Your battery is dead, a friend pulls up with jumper cables, and the instinct is to clamp all 4 connections directly to both batteries as fast as possible. Here's the small detail that actually matters for safety. A dead or deeply discharged battery vents small amounts of hydrogen gas, and clamping that final cable directly onto the dead battery's negative terminal can produce a spark right next to that gas. Connect positive to positive on both batteries first, then connect negative to positive on the working battery. But for the final connection, clamp the last negative cable onto an unpainted metal surface on the dead car's engine block or frame, away from the battery itself, rather than onto the battery's negative terminal directly. This still completes the circuit and starts the car exactly the same way, but any spark from that final connection happens away from the battery instead of right above it. Let the running car charge the dead one for a few minutes before attempting to start. This costs nothing extra and takes the same amount of time. It's simply a safer order of operations most drivers were never taught. Hack number 3. The headlight switch position. Most drivers never use. You drive at dusk with your headlights on automatic, assuming the car is handling everything correctly. But automatic headlight sensors are calibrated for full darkness and often stay off during overcast days, heavy rain, or fog, exactly the conditions where other drivers most need to see you. Most headlight switches have a manual position, usually just past auto, that forces the headlights on regardless of what the automatic sensor thinks the lighting conditions are. During rain, fog, or an overcast afternoon, manually rotate the headlight switch past the auto setting rather than trusting the sensor to make the right call, then return it to auto once conditions clear. Some jurisdictions legally require headlights on during rain, specifically because so many drivers rely on automatic headlights that don't activate in exactly these conditions. This costs nothing and takes 1 second, and it makes your car visible to oncoming and merging traffic in the exact conditions where visibility matters the most and automatic systems are least reliable. Hack number 2. The tire rotation pattern. Most shops skip. You get your tires rotated on schedule, but they still wear unevenly within a year. and you assume your alignment is off again. Tires actually need to be rotated in a specific directional pattern depending on whether your car is front wheel, rear wheel, or all-wheel drive, and a rushed shop visit sometimes just swaps front to back without following the correct crossing pattern for your drivetrain. On front-wheel drive cars, the rears should move straight to the front, while the fronts cross diagonally to the rear. On rear-wheel and all-wheel drive cars, it's reversed. The fronts move straight back, and the rears cross diagonally to the front. Ask whoever rotates your tires which pattern they used, or look it up in your owner's manual and request it specifically by name. The correct pattern evens out wear from drivetrain-specific forces that a simple front-to-back swap doesn't address. A premature tire replacement because of uneven wear costs $600 to $900 for a full set. Requesting the correct rotation pattern by name costs nothing extra at a service that's already on your calendar. Hack number 1. The 15-minute seasonal check that prevents most breakdowns. Most drivers only think about their car reactively, dealing with problems only once a warning light, a strange noise, or a breakdown forces the issue. Here's the single habit that catches almost everything on this list before it becomes expensive. Once every 3 months, spend 15 minutes running through a short checklist. Check your spare tire pressure along with your 4 road tires. Confirm your washer fluid is topped off with the correct seasonal blend. Tighten and inspect your gas cap. Check your cabin air filter behind the glove box for buildup. Glance under the car for any fresh fluid spots on the driveway. Test your headlights, brake lights, and turn signals by walking a full circle around the car with someone tapping the pedals or using the reflection off a window or garage door. Note your fuel pump habits and try to keep the tank above a quarter. None of these individually take more than 2 or 3 minutes, and together they catch the exact issues that turn into 4-figure repair bills when ignored for a year or 2. This is the difference between a driver who's constantly surprised by their own car and one who almost never is. Each of these tricks costs next to nothing and takes just a few minutes. If you found this helpful, please subscribe. There's more content like this every few days. See you in the next video.